Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Video Game Drive-By. So, this is a little bit late, but something that we've done for most years is a year-end wrap-up where we just kind of play a one-off game, and we have like a few, what was it, like our top whatevers of the year?
Just little whatever moments of the year.
So it's like, you know, our favorite game, our least favorite, a game that's surprisingly good, a game that's surprisingly bad, and then what game we're looking forward to for the next year.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I'm playing Demon's Tilt?
Yeah, it's a fantastic, kind of hyper reality pinball game that is a throwback to some of the old Amiga and Sega Genesis pinball games back in the day, like Dragon's Revenge and those games.
Now, I do want to give a heads up. It actually showed up before this title screen. There was a photo-sensitive warning. How much do we have to worry about that?
There's you have this screen here that's a bit flashy, and it's a pinball game, so you'll have some explosions and stuff. I would definitely say if you're sensitive... I mean, I'm an epileptic, and I play this game in vertical like 2 inches from my face, and I've never had a problem.
Okay.
But, there might be some flashing lights and things like that, but it's nothing as bad as, like, say, your average vertical shmup. No worse of a photosensitivity warning than any of the shoot-'em-up games we've played before.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so what we're gonna start with our favorite game. Do you want to go first?
So my favorite game, yeah, I'll lead with that one, was Shredder's Revenge, actually. Really? Yeah, I thought it was exactly what I wanted it to be, a perfect throwback to the classic arcade Ninja Turtles games. It was just the right length. Nothing outstayed its welcome. None of the levels felt too long. Nothing felt cheesy. And it didn't feel like it was after my quarters. It felt like a proper home Ninja Turtles game. And the fact that they also added in Shredder and April as playable characters just made me happy.
Okay, so you were right before we started recording. It is the left and right, or the L and R buttons.
Yeah.
Okay. So is it...
Oh, you have to hold it down.
Oh, you have to hold it down?
Yeah. I think you were bumping the table just then instead of launching the ball.
I am holding.
Try A button?
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I think the D-pad, you kind of tap the table to bump the ball.
Okay. So that's your choice.
Yeah, for my favorite game of the year, it's an easy choice. I mean, we didn't exactly play a huge amount this year because we did a lot of longer plays. And some gaps due to illness and scheduling.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a chaotic year, what with, my misfortune.
It's definitely been a lot of something.
Yeah.
But I think you already know what my choice for a favorite game is going to be. Clearly, Caveman Ninja. No, it's Splatoon 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one was obvious. You knew I was shitting myself before that. Wow, alright. You knew I was shitting myself before the game even came out.
Oh, yeah.
And when it did, I was absolutely just fired up.
And I did enjoy the heck out of that one. Like, the actual storyline of it.
Yeah. It was pretty good, and it was an interesting change of pace, fighting the idols this time.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they're going to help it. They're not helping us. They're trying to kill us.
The fact that it wasn't just a carbon copy of the previous games was nice.
Yeah, and the fact they touched on that briefly, like, oh yeah, it's Octavio. Haha. Wait, what do you mean it's not Octavio?
Yeah. And then they didn't, pull the rug out from under us at the end and go, it was Octavio all along.
Yeah, I think that would have irritated the crap out of me. They try to do that little rug pull.
The game felt like it rewarded fans of the lore, which a lot of fans, they just, ink gun goes burr, haha.
Right, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm definitely part of that.
Yeah. See, that is actually what you want to do. You want to try to land the ball in that multiple times, because it'll start revealing the demon.
Okay.
So,
all right, sure.
Just a little pointer for the game.
There's a lot happening right now. It's kind of hard to follow right now. There's so much going on.
This game was made by one man too, and the soundtrack was made by another guy. So it's good stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree with you on Splatoon 3. I just didn't want to also pick the same thing as you because if we hadn't played,
we have absolutely picked the same game for different categories on other years.
Yeah, but for best game, it's boring.
All right.
And I absolutely would have picked that too if I didn't genuinely enjoy Shredder's Revenge just a little bit more. And I think it's because we got to play that one together, and that's always nice, being able to enjoy a game together on the channel. Let's see. So,
worst game then.
So, I did first last time, so you go ahead and tell me what your worst game was.
Okay. So, my worst game, I would say, and now keep in mind, this does not mean it's immediately a bad game, just like the lowest of what we have played.
Yeah.
For this year. I would have to say Mech Rage, but keep in mind, that was a very, low budget, low cost game,
yeah.
So it's gonna kind of be, and Jesus, it's gonna have a whole lot of, it's not gonna be quite up to par with some of the bigger budget games that
and I will say, we played better quality games this year than we have in previous years. I think that none of the games this year I would rate below a 7 anyway.
Yeah. And if Mech Rage doesn't count because it's considered too low budget, I'd say the worst game, which again still isn't bad, but Sonic Forces. Because it did have some jank, but I don't think that the jank ever, irritated me. It was always humorous jank. Not like, oh, look, this game's unplayable. I hate it so much, it killed my family. No, it's like, haha, that's weird. Why'd it do that? Oh, well.
Yeah.
It's that kind of jank.
You're not mad, just disappointed.
Well, I'm not even that. I was just, oh my god. I feel like when it goes in this bottom area...
disciple.
I feel like when it goes in this bottom area, that's just a death sentence right there, because I can't get it back up.
Now, you might be surprised by my worst game.
What's that?
Because it's one I recommended.
Quit giving me the link account! It did that before we even started recording.
Yeah, I've never seen it do that before. That's weird. But, yeah, I actually went with Kyle is Famous. Because...
That's the worst game?
Because it starts really solidly and very weirdly. But
yeah,
unfortunately, it doesn't fluctuate. It just stays constantly weird. And so as a result, there's no flavor to it. You know?
True, yeah.
It's like a bad horror movie that's just always playing for the fences. It's like, you gotta give it moments to breathe, to slow down. And, the acting was great. The story is amazingly out there. But it kind of lost my interest when I was like, oh, yes, very funny game. You're quite clever. And the game felt like it knew it was being that clever, and it ended up being a big disappointment for me. And it wasn't like, oh, it surprised me or anything. That's, in my opinion, the worst game we played, because the joke wore out fast.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a shame, because it's a game I enjoy watching other people play, but you lose something in just playing it yourself. And I think it's because giving yourself that choice kind of robs the surprise element in a way.
Yeah.
I want to watch somebody else play it and see what ridiculousness they uncover and just take the journey with them. But playing it, it's kind of boring.
A bit, yeah.
And I guess maybe we should then lead into, surprisingly good?
Surprisingly good.
Surprisingly good?
Did you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and pull this one out. You're also going to think this is weird. I found Sonic Forces to be surprisingly good, and it's honestly for a lot of the same reasons that you were claiming that it was the worst game, and that I was expecting the worst out of it. I'd only ever heard that the game was complete trash, that I would not enjoy it at all, that there was no redeeming qualities, oh my god, ruining Sonic. And this is coming from a guy that actually really enjoys Sonic Generations and Sonic Mania, I really liked it. And,
I think that's why we... Oh, okay, cool.
And in kind of a personal note, my kid's younger stepbrother, shout out to you. You know who you are. He watched all the episodes and fell in love with them and became a huge Sonic fan. Or he might have already been a Sonic fan, but yeah, he watched all of those episodes religiously and would get so excited when new episodes would come up. And that's one of the reasons I didn't want to give up on the game, because I knew he was out there watching it, even though none of the kids are supposed to be watching our channel because we use grown-up language.
Because we use a lot of the F word. Why are kids watching this?
My daughter's decided she's going into the Air Force, so,
I mean, alright.
But, so, they got a good head on their shoulders. They can watch now. But, yeah, so that's where Sonic was, surprisingly good for me, because it made me feel like I was entertaining somebody that matters to me. So
that's cool.
Yeah. What about you for your surprisingly good?
So my surprisingly good was Titanfall 2. Now, at no point did I ever think it was going to be bad, because I've only heard good stuff about it.
Yeah.
But actually, like, going and playing it myself, I was like, okay, you know what? I see where the praise is coming from. It's a really good game on its merits.
And
good lord.
And you're not exactly Mr. Call of Duty, you know?
Right.
Like, the core audience isn't you for this game. And that's usually my thing I say to people is, no, you don't understand. This is more than just the sum of Call of Duty teams. There's something special here.
Yeah, it genuinely is a really good game on its merits.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, even if you've already experienced it through us playing it, there's something special about playing it, though. It just feels like butter. You just...
Like butter?
Yeah, it's like butter.
You say it like that.
It's one of the smoothest experiences in gaming I've ever had. And that's going to lead into something later in this episode, too.
Okay.
But, so I guess...
surprisingly bad.
Yeah,
unless you had more to...
No, that's about it on that. I mean, I have a big, dumb, smug look on my face just from Titanfall 2 coming up at all, just because I have this weird, like I need to promote it, like it's an underdog when... I mean, the game spawned Apex Legends, which is a huge game, but, you know,
yeah.
Make Titanfall 3 already, damn it. I will give you my money in advance. I don't care. Just make the game. But yeah, so what was your surprisingly bad?
Kyle is famous.
Yeah.
Because, like, it had a really strong start, and I remember saying this when we were actually playing it, or rather when we finished. For me, it did stay funny only when it stuck with the talk show thing.
Yeah.
When it started going to the other stuff, like, oh, we're going to change jobs now. Now we're Santa Claus. Now we're a detective.
Unhinged jaw.
Yeah.
I mean, that was funny.
That one was funny. Well, that was still within the
talk
show part.
But, like, becoming a superhero and hunting a criminal. Yeah.
Like, it's... Like, at that point, they lost the plot.
Exactly. Literally.
It tried... That was when it tried way too hard to be funny. Like, oh, he's so random, JK.
Yeah.
And it's like... Here's my thing. I remember... Oh my god, I'm going to lose my mind.
Why it's doing that.
The one anime that I think of that does the same thing was Excel Saga.
Yeah.
Way back when. Because you remember, when we first started watching it, we lost our shit. It was so hilarious. But after a while, I don't know if it's just... You know, I became too used to the humor, or it genuinely lost steam, but I just wasn't enjoying it anymore, and that's kind of what Kyle is Famous did. It was like...
That was the same point I made about it just constantly being at max level.
Right. And it's like, okay, cool, but can we calm down a little bit and let some of these jokes, like, cook a bit before we just fire them off?
Like, I like chocolate, but if that's the only thing I'm eating, I don't like chocolate anymore.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely agree with you on that. And the thing is, that's not to say Kyle is Famous isn't bad. That game is freaking hilarious.
It's great. And in controlled doses.
Yeah. And I'm not upset that I got it. You know, I'm happy that it was a game that I've experienced, and I think the developers behind it should be very proud of what they made. I'm not going to say, you know, I'm not a huge fan of the term surprisingly bad, as if me disliking it equals bad game.
Right.
They're just some decisions that I would not have made, but I'm also not in a position to make the good decisions either, so... But yeah, no, I agree with you fully on the Kyle is Famous one. And again, my surprisingly bad game that we played this year, it's another one that I recommended, and it only comes from the fact that I ended up more disappointed with it than anything, because I also have the original fresh in my mind, and that's Chex Quest.
Yeah.
Because it had a lot of the heart of the original. It had some neat design choices, but it felt soulless at the same time. I know that's weird to say it has the heart of the original, but none of the soul, but...
A little bit.
The original Chex Quest has a certain feel to it because it is a really, really good, essentially a total conversion of the original Doom. So, like, you can feel where the Doomy bits are and how they tweaked them, and everything comes across as, oh, that's clever. But when you completely redo it in 3D, some of the doominess of it shouldn't have been there. And some of the jank, like there was a lack of polish in this. And I get it was a free game on PC, and you know it was only $5 on the Switch. But I've played games that were 99 cents that had more polish in them. You know, like this game's like $10, I think, $15. This is a solid pinball game.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't an entire playthrough series worth of game.
Right.
You know?
I mean, there's a reason we're doing this for the year-end wrap-up.
And it's one of the only Switch games I've ever played where you hold the Switch entirely sideways and just hold one Joy-Con and play it that way, if you want to. But yeah, that was my surprisingly bad. Is that I really love Chex Quest. I still own my original CD-ROM that came with my box of Chex cereal that it came in. Like, I have that.
God.
Yeah. And then you can download Chex Quest 2, which is even more levels and monsters and stuff. And then there's an unofficial Chex Quest 3 by the same people. It's just not, licensed by Ralston Purina anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a small year for games, but also at the same time, we haven't had any full-on stinkers,
Yeah, which is pretty fortunate.
And I actually, there's been a couple where, like, they started out great, and then they just kind of
petered out.
Yeah, I will eventually go back and finish Poison Control.
But,
But it was just kind of... It felt like a TV series. We'd played some good episodes, and maybe we could go back and play a couple later, but that's not a game you want to long play.
Yeah, well, one thing that I remember commenting on about that was, like, in the very beginning, it felt like it kept just exposition dumping.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, there was no exposition at all. Like, it was just play stages.
Yeah.
And that was it. I was like, okay, can we spread the story a little bit? Like, not nearly... Like, don't thick coat it so much in the beginning, but then give us a little more later? Because I kind of like to see what's actually happening with the story instead of, okay, go kill the thing and clean up the poison. All right, next.
I've got a question for you too.
What's that?
About just some of the other games. Is there anything you've played this year you haven't played on the channel that you enjoyed? Just for the sake of playing it by yourself and enjoying it.
Honestly, there's not a lot of games. Like, I haven't really done a whole lot of variety on my own time. Like, people who have seen me on Switch know that almost all of my time on the Switch is playing either Splatoon or Dead by Daylight. There's very little of that. Like, I'm even starting to. I've actually haven't played what's it called? Animal Crossing in forever.
Yeah.
And I'm actually trying to make up the days that I haven't played. But the problem is the last time I played was back in January of last year. And I don't want to lose any days, so I actually tried to wind back the clock and redo a bunch of the days from before. And I'm like, do I really want to try to speed through a year's worth of days on that game? Because I don't want to just miss them.
Yeah.
But I might end up having to, depending. But other than that, I don't think so. Just a couple mobile games, just more Skullgirls mobile. And I know there's only so much I can say, because this is an adult-rated game that I'm about to talk about, but, I'm not going to say the name, but it was definitely one of those games that, it kind of insults the player's intelligence and sort of forces them into a situation where they have to spend money. It's one of those, yeah. What happens is they'll, many free-to-play games will do events. For this, for next week or so, you could play this mode and you can get a new character or something. But, what this thing did was, it would open up a new area for the event, and it would say, okay, here's this free item box that you need, or this free item box we're giving you. Go ahead and take any items from it, and you go ahead and you get it, and it gives you your stuff. Then you play some of the event, and you get to a point where you get to a locked door, and sometimes locked doors will require different items. You need a bronze sword to get through this locked door.
Yeah.
But then one of the later locked doors, you need a half-opened item box. So the item box they give you at the beginning of the event, you're supposed to open it and take one item, but not all of them, because that makes the item box disappear.
Wow.
So now you have to buy a new item box that you can't even get all of, because you have to use an opened item box to undo the lock.
But it's not pay to win, because we totally gave you it earlier,
Right.
you dummy.
Right.
Yeah.
So they require this thing of you that they never tell you is a requirement. So it's okay, cool, thanks, I guess. That irritated the crap out of me.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't blame you. I played a few mobile games this year, too, actually. I played the Star Trek Lower Decks mobile game, which is surprisingly funny, but it does start tapping on that pay vibe.
Oh, yeah.
From time to time. And I played that new Marvel Snap card game. It is really fun, but I stopped playing it and I just haven't felt the need to go back and play it. Like, I kind of got my fun out of it. I got top ranking in a tournament and I was like, all right, I don't really need to play this anymore. And
You're just done with it?
But to their credit, never felt like I had to spend money. It even has a battle pass that you can spend money on to get more bonus stuff, but I just never felt like I needed to win matches. Like, if there were characters that I cared about, I might have eventually thought about grabbing a battle pass. Like, there was apparently a Silver Surfer themed pass recently and I missed it, but I might have been tempted had I still been playing it at the time. But I think one of the games that I played off channel.
Should I be worried that the priestess is looking a little bloodied?
She's the demon.
Oh, that's the demon.
Yeah, you'll start uncovering her face more and more as you go on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But there was a couple of games that I've played off channel, which I actually am thinking about just like, I've already mentioned to you, I want to add these to the roster of what we play eventually. One is called Mind Scanners. It's a retro futuristic psychiatry simulator.
Okay.
With like really weird machinery that you hook up to people to try to figure out what's wrong with their mental problems caused by whatever's going on in this dystopian cyberpunk city. As you're just trying to find your daughter who has some weird psychic connection to everyone and she's been taken away and they promise to give her back if you become a scanner. But you get the feeling that you're not working for the good guys. It's a really good game, but it can be a bit unsettling. It's not a scary game, but it is like uncanny, weird, disturbing.
It definitely doesn't give you the happy feelies.
Oh yeah, it does heebie-jeebies though.
Okay.
And the other one I've been playing is Inscription, that fantastic indie card game that everyone needs to play.
I love it when it like just goes straight down the middle and you have no chance to actually hit it.
Yeah.
Those are always fun.
Well, when it's doing that, nudge the table.
How do you nudge the table?
I believe it's the D-pad.
Well, I guess I'll find out later. Alright, so then the last thing is what game you're looking forward to for this next year?
I have two, so you go ahead and tell me yours.
So mine is not specifically a game, and I'm not even sure it's going to be this year. But the Splatoon 3 DLC, which I'm fairly certain is probably going to be just 3 hours of Pearl and Marina making out. I'm fairly certain. Now, I have no proof of this. That's why I say I'm only fairly certain. But
you certainly aim high.
Just taking a guess, I think it's just going to be Pearl and Marina making out with each other. For
you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Extended period of time.
Well, I have two that I'm looking forward to for the year, and they weirdly tie into two other games that I have like bizarre obsessions with. One is a game called Atlas Falls. It's coming out by Deck 13, and it's this desert fantasy RPG from the same people that made The Surge. And looking at the trailer, my brain has already said, oh, this game is just a several thousand-year futuristic sequel to The Surge. That's the big plot twist. This isn't magic, it's nanomachines. I'm going to be disappointed when it doesn't turn out to be that, but the game still looks really, really cool. Like a Dark Souls game that has mobility as its primary function. So like crossing like Devil May Cry with a Dark Souls style game. So you have that weighted heavy combat, but then whenever you're traversing, you're just like surfing on sand, and it looks cool.
Okay.
And then the other one is Star Wars Jedi Survivor, I think is what it's called. It's the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, which is made by Respawn, the same guys who did Titanfall.
Okay.
And the first one was, I'll play a Star Wars game. I like Star Wars. It's not my favorite sci-fi thing, but I do rather like it. But Jedi Fallen Order started life as a game by Amy Hennig, who worked on the Uncharted series, but she also was the lead person behind Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1 and 2. Like, she had a huge hand in that series, shaping everything about it. Her team was fired from the project because they refused to monetize it, and then Respawn came in, took some of what they'd worked on, and then kind of finished the game and turned it into this god-tier amazing game that plays, again, a little Dark Souls-y, a little Soul Reaver-y, a little Uncharted-y, but it has that zest of design and craftsmanship that Respawn brings to all their games. With all these cool tricks that you don't expect to happen as a player. Like you have a force vision where you're running down a hallway and the door is locked, so you turn around and suddenly instead of it being the hallway you were running down, it's a much bigger open arena.
Okay.
And it changes at the drop of a hat. No loading or anything. It's just boom. You got close to this door. It was locked. You turn around. There it is. Or you go to open a door and it's like an evil version of yourself. And just as you go to fight, an explosion happens and the entire game is completely different looking now. And just these instant little flourishes that show these guys know their tech and know how to tell a good story. So that one I'm probably going to go pre-order it like payday because I really want that game. But I'm cautiously optimistic that it's going to be a decent year. I mean, Game Pass has been just a stunner this year with some of the games they're putting on there. Like Persona 3 and 4 from the PS Vita are about to drop on Game Pass in like a week.
To this day, I don't know shit about Persona.
The thing is I bet you if you started playing them, they would become one of your obsession games.
That's kind of a problem, though.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't need any more obsession games right now.
Yeah.
That's going to end up taking up more than all of my time when I'm still trying to use some of my time to make up Animal Crossing again.
And but I'm hopeful about the new year for gaming. You know, we're a couple of years into this generation. The hardware is starting to get into people's hands finally. I actually saw PS5s, multiple of them, in a Walmart the other day, just chilling out. No lines, no people punching each other for them, just there, in a case.
Yeah, but how many games for PS5 are there besides more remakes? And Ratchet and Clank? The Ratchet and Clank's like the only PS5 game I have even any remote interest in.
The game I want to play the most on PS5 is apparently also coming to PC soon, Returnal. And that's the weird roguelike game where you crash on this planet and you're answering a distress call, and turns out the distress call is from yourself because you've already crash landed on this planet and died.
Oh, good.
And you've died multiple times, and all the items and things that you're finding are just things from previous loops of yourself.
Lovely.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of games. You know, the ones that are immediately just a Brian game. Weirdly heady, sci-fi, a neat gimmick that probably got ripped out of a Star Trek episode. You know, there's a Star Trek episode where they keep blowing up and resetting the timeline. It's great.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, it's called Cause and Effect, actually.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. It's all coming together. There's a couple of other PS exclusives I want to check out. I'm a little irritated that the Final Fantasy VII remake sequels are only going to come to the PlayStation. You know, Death Stranding 2 might be a PlayStation exclusive for a while, which is a bummer because I really like the first one.
Yeah, first one was all right. We didn't play a whole heck of a lot of it on this channel.
During the whole Christmas event on the Epic Store, they gave away a free game every single day.
Oh, jeez.
And a lot of them, like, there's some big name titles in there. And on, like, Christmas Day, they gave out Death Stranding.
Oh, wow.
But they made a mistake.
What?
They gave away the director's cut with all the DLC content and all the extra stuff.
Okay.
And then they realized their mistake, and so many people were rushing in to get it that it broke Epic Store for a day.
Oh, no.
And when they fixed it, they put the regular edition back up.
Oh.
And a lot of people were irritated by that because they all got notifications saying it's the director's cut. So, but here's the cool part. Anybody that got in on it and got the director's cut when it was advertised as that,
got to keep it?
They let them keep it.
Neat.
And there was no harm, no foul. The bonus disc content got added a little bit later after that, so I was able to view all of that too. So, yeah, they did right by me. But yeah, there was a lot of great games added to that this year. It's just they broke it once. And then on the final day, they gave out a second game. Like, they gave out 2 games at once. They gave out Fallout 1, 2, and Tactics on one day. On another time, too.
Okay.
Yeah, like, they gave out good stuff.
I know people usually say 1 and 2 are pretty... Well, people usually say 1 is pretty good.
Yeah.
People have mixed opinions on 2, it seems.
Yeah, and Tactics is...
Tactic is...
of all the Fallout games released, it's definitely one of them.
It is a game of all time.
Yeah.
But I think that might be... Unless you have anything else to add for the year-end?
Oh, actually, friendly reminder to anybody watching this, for this month, hit up your PlayStation account as well, because on PlayStation Plus, Jedi Fallen Order is the free game, along with... I don't know what the second game is, but the third game...
Along with something else.
The third game is Axiom Verge 2, another game I'm going to have to force you to play.
Okay.
Forces with giant air quotes. Cause,
yeah, it's definitely one that I do want to play.
I actually think you'll enjoy the gameplay over the first game, because it's less frustrating.
Really?
Yeah.
Because to be honest, the only part of the first game I remember being frustrating was just navigation.
Yeah.
Because there were some parts where I'm like, where the fuck do I go now?
Yeah, the navigation, you're still going to run into some problems, but they've instituted fast travel at every save point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that not a thing before? Or?
Nope, you had to walk everywhere you went in the original game.
Oh, I remember now.
The only fast travel was that giant headroom that could take you to different parts of the map.
Oh, yeah, the walking head thingy.
Though they put out a patch for Axiom Verge 1 recently. Randomizer mode.
Oh, no.
But the randomizer is smart. It always makes it so that you can complete the game with whatever item layout it gives you. You never get soft-locked.
All right.
So, yeah. Anyway.
Oh, good. Yeah, moving on. So, that's it?
Yeah, just want to wish everybody that's our fans or viewers or whatever you want to call everybody that loves our show.
That loves our shit.
I was going to say show and channel at the same time. It always came out wrong.
All the channel.
Happy New Year to everyone. Take care of yourselves. Take care of the people that you care about. If last year was bad, it's going to get better. And you're never alone. And if you feel like you are, leave a comment. I'm sure somebody will talk to you.
I might talk to you. You might not want that.